Wait. No, what are you doing? Stop! No! Stop! Stop! Stop it! Oh. Just get him out of the guild. G. As you all can see, I've been meditating on this video for a long time. I've been thinking about it. 15 years of World of Warcraft experience. How can I package all of that information for you and deliver it in a cognitive and comprehensive type of way? And we're gonna take a stab at it. I think the first thing is you gotta go with your key bindings, because that's the first thing I do on every character I start, is I fix the keybinds. So first things first, you want your UIs to look a little closer to this. Now, if you play a druid, this is gonna be super nice for you, because you're getting it all. You're gonna get it all. I got my macros. You're gonna get it all. But if you don't, I can do other videos as well. If you guys like this one, just let me know. So first things first, on a druid, we're gonna talk about the movement keys. This is on every character, not just a druid. I don't know what I'm saying. Movement keys. Turn left, turn right are default bound to A and D. Strafe left and strafe right are bound to Q and E. That is the default settings. What I do on every character is I come in and I change Q and E from strafe right and strafe left to A and D for strafe left and strafe right, excuse me. So what that ultimately is gonna do, and you're gonna wanna hit OK. You're gonna wanna hit OK. I didn't, because I didn't wanna change my keybinds. So what that ultimately is gonna do is it's gonna allow you to strafe with A and D, and then instead of keyboard turning in your character's not going to turn like this. This is going to happen. Now you're going to use your right hand or your left hand if you play on the left-hand mouse for some reason, like you're left-handed. You're going to go ahead and you're going to rotate like this. This is going to be crucial for all movement in PvP. This is crucial for all movement in like hardcore raiding guilds, I would say, honestly. You're gonna want to get used to moving like this. This is the next level of WoW. Clicking your spells is no longer acceptable. So key binding, I want to say, number one, is gonna be on preference. There are some theories to it that make a lot of sense, and I've thought about my keybinds for a really long time. You can also, everybody says their preference. I do believe in optimal keybinds, and I have thought about mine for a long time. You can train your hand to like optimal keybinds. The same goes for other games like Fortnite, if you play games like that. But you can train your hand for optimal keybinds. And first things first is your spell. On the spell breakdown when it comes to key binding, I think your most spammable abilities are the most important. As you can see, my spammable abilities are actually highlighted for you on this character, because my spammable abilities right here are my form, my boomkin. I always make sure I go into boomkin form. This could be a hot topic. Some people may want to say, no, why would I want Sunfire Moonfire on there? I don't need Sunfire Moonfire on there. But I think it's really important to automatically be going in. So on every single form I have, whether it be travel, whether it be bear, whether it be cat, every key goes to that. I also have not just 1 through 4 and Q and E, but also the key next to 1. I believe it's called tilde or something like that. That key I have bound as my execute ability. On a balanced druid, it ends up being my energy regen ability. same would go for like a rogue. It would be my energy regen ability. I haven't played rogue in a long time, but if I did, it might be also my like kidney shot or one of my spenders like that. On Ret Pally, it ends up being my Hammer of Wrath. On my warrior, it's my execute. It is essentially my execute. My kill shot on my hunter, things of that nature. Q and E when I play a caster seem to be the more spammable abilities just because you do a little bit more moving as a warrior when you're trying to keep with them. No, not a whole lot of hard casting. So my spammable hard casts I usually put on Q and E just so I could go right here and then be easily spamming. Actually, let's go over to the training dummies real quick. So you can see how easy it is for me to switch in and out of my forms. That's because all of my buff keys are also placed on Alt 1 through 4. This is on all of my characters, whether it be my warrior in retail, or actually, excuse me, my warrior in classic. My warrior in classic will have battle stance is Alt 1, defensive stance is Alt 2, and berserker stance is Alt 3. I use these ones a little bit out of order on my druid because this is what I've become most comfortable with. Alt 1 I use a lot when I'm dropping down to turn into cat form to reduce fall damage. Alt 2 for flight and travel, just because I want that key above W to be my traveling one. I also turn that into a horse on my pally. Now my mount ability is always on Z. Z is always my mount. I find Z to be a very easy key and also a very easy key to hit to dismount if I want to, because I don't like to dismount by pushing any keys other than my mount. I have a macro for that and works pretty well. So when it comes to doing damage, my rotation abilities are always Q, E, 1, 3, and then 2 is usually my big boy hit. On melee, my 2 is usually my spam. If I can log out real quick and show you on my melee character, my Ret Pally, what it kind of looks like. No, we can do that later. But I usually will use my 2, then my 1 is kind of my big spender. For instance, my Mortal Strike on my warrior is 1. On my paladin, it's Templar's Verdict, I believe, is 1. So that's what I use for Holy Power. Spenders 3 I use as like my dot or my upkeep ability. So anyways, spammable abilities 1 through E, that's what makes the most sense. Now your interrupts and CCs are the second most important abilities. Actually, kind of the most important abilities maybe. Because your interrupts and your CCs are what are going to be really reliant for your PvP play as well as PvE play. A lot of DPS fail to realize how important CC can be, and in Classic it's going to be even more important than it is in retail right now. So you want to get used to using your CC abilities. I hear a lot of people use E for CC, a lot of people use Q for CC. I personally think that those are key spammable abilities. I like my stuff in a box when it comes to spamming. So I kind of work with a little horseshoe of Q, 1 through 3, E, and then tilde for the stomp. 4 is usually like something that's a little bit more utility based. F is my heal, usually speaking. G is a little bit of a slightly bigger heal. And then Shift F, we'll get into that in just a second. But my interrupts are always on R. I always put my interrupt on R. Every character, it's always on R, no matter what the character is. My pummel on my warrior. On my rogue, it is my kick. On my hunter, it's interrupting shot. Mage, it's counter spell. That's the interrupt spell. Shift R you can see is there as well. That's a focus macro usually. I use that for arenas, but in Classic there's not going to be arenas, so that spell may be open, or I just may double down on it. Just in case when I'm using my shift modifiers, it's easy to click and I don't have to worry. My stun is shifty. I know a lot of people use E for their interrupts, but I use my E, my rotation, so I can be here, and then I use shifty, and that's how quickly it is to get out of stun. Right there, you see, it's super easy for me to be spamming my E's, and then be. I just use shifty on my other characters as well. For instance, my like melee characters, because E is usually like a pretty decent ability and things like that. Now my mouse buttons are funny. I use either my slows for my mouse buttons or my AoE spells. Those are two themes that I try to use on my mouse buttons. My C is usually like my disengage, my blink, things of that nature. X is always my sprint. So the way I also think about it is C is, for instance, my short defensive escape. X is my long defensive escape as far as cooldowns. I use shift modifiers for all of my healing spells. Healing spells are not healing spells, but my quick healing spells, my instant cast healing spells. My main healing spells are F and G, but the other ones are like shift 3, shift 1. Shift C is my innervate, shift X is my soothe. A lot of different things I do with that. Shift F is usually like my bubble. And shift G is usually like my mana cookie. Sometimes I'll send the cookie down to G if I don't have extra heals. For instance, like on a hunter or something like that. I may even have mend pet on G. Remains to be known. Now, my CC abilities are also on my mouse wheel. Like my entangling roots are on my mouse wheel. Why are they on mouse wheel? Because this would be Arena 1, for instance. This would be Arena 2 on the X, and then the moon would be Arena 3. Mouse wheel up, back in my arena days, would be the Arena 1. Mouse wheel down would be Arena 2. And then mouse wheel push, or mouse wheel 3, middle mouse button, is what it's also referred to as, would be my roots for Arena 3. And that's how I used to play arenas as a healer. Those were my targeting. And then I would use shift modifiers for the actual damage. So that's how I arena target, was with the mouse wheel. And I would use a shift modifier and an alt modifier for my kicks, as well as my CC abilities, other than like my stuns, because my stuns were usually used on kill targets anyways. Long CCs, cures are usually on V. I usually use remove corruption for V. T is for trinket, and that's my like CC breaker. 5 is like a utility, so I have it as my net gun right now, but there'll be other stuff. I don't really bind revive because it's just so not necessary. As for my battle res is on shift 4, so it's extremely clickable. I also have, because I have one of these chroma mice from they're called the cone, rock hat cone. Up and down, up and down. That's my flap is for up. Down is for my focus. And it's a mouse over macro as well. What else? Oh, my big damaging ability is shift mouse button. That's on all my characters. That's my big damage ability. Just like how on all my characters, my big cooldowns are Shift F and Shift G for defensives. I use my offensive on the mouse. As you can see, it's pretty easy to get a good rotation here. Especially if I focus in. And that's the keybinds.